The 2 Series is in the 2nd generation, still a front-wheel drive configuration, increasing 11 horsepower but decreasing 37 pound-feet of torque. Is the M235 worth the hype? We're showcasing the 2025 BMW m235 xDrive Gran Coupe in Tanzanite Blue 2 Metallic over Oyster Perforated Syntec. I'm going to compare this against the competition, throw in some pros and cons to see if it is worth the hype. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides. The 2 Series Gran Coupe is going to look a lot more aggressive. It's more boxy style. When you pack it with the M235, you get more of a sport design, especially with the kidney grille. You get the satin aluminum, illuminate, standard LED headlights, and daytime runnings. The lower gets the front parking sensors with the M Sport contents and M Sport Pro contents that's included. The exterior will also boast that M styling, but I just feel like this section here is just a little bit too long for the overhang. With 5.7 inches of clearance, 58.3, 41.7 weight distribution, which normally with a BMW you're going to be closer to a 50-50 weight distribution. Plus, you're not going to have a front-wheel drive platform with an all-wheel drive configuration, so that's definitely a con to me, making it not worth the hype. But what's housed underneath the hood does change the ball game, because we're getting a 2.0 liter BMW twin power turbocharged 4-cylinder that's producing 311 horsepower with 295 pound-feet of torque paired to a 7-speed dual clutch automatic transmission. So they have dropped the 8-speed automatic transmission for the 2nd gen and M adaptive suspension. But don't get this confused with the M2 that has 162 horsepower more than this. This is not the sweet spot like an M340 or a M440. This is going to be a lot more tamed. You're getting 19-inch wheels, you get the blue brake calipers that's housing 4 pistons in the front, a single floating caliper in the rear, 15.2-inch disc reading in the front. That's freaking crazy, with a 13-inch out back. Again, it's a front-wheel drive configuration. For me, because of the power that's coming out of it, it just feels a lot more minified. And I know people in the comments are going to say, it's an M240, you are getting more performance than the standard 2 Series, but come on. I mean, make it the sweet spot like they do in the 3 and the 4, because when you compare this against Audi, Mercedes, Genesis, this is the slowest vehicle in class, the worst performance in class, the worst weight distribution. Now, I'm not saying I hate the vehicle because it still has the fun to drive, but when I'm thinking about a 55 grand price, add a few features, you're at $60,000 MSRP. You might as well start looking at an M2 and get the full performance out of the vehicle for the 2 Series. Standard LED taillights, the lower gets more aggressive with quad exhaust tips, the diffuser, the reverse parking sensors, with the trunk lid spoiler, so it sports the essence of a BMW. It just doesn't have the DNA. It's a front-wheel drive platform. It doesn't have the performance numbers similar to a M340 or an M440, which would be a sweet spot in between the M and non-M variants. Here, yes, it is packing a lot more performance, and it is pretty much in between. But because of the platform and because of it sharing so much of the Mini in the interior, it's hard for me to say it's worth the hype, but let me know if you would go to this or the competition in the comments. Quick release, going into 15.2 cubic feet of storage, and it's a flat floor, so it does make it a little bit easier for the load. You get a little storage nook here. Underneath the floor lifts up into a ton of storage, and a split fold the rear bench. You pull the tabs here, and you also have some bag holders right here, and that will maximize the cargo capacity, splitting at a 60-40 split. But we need to go inside, start it up so you can hear that exhaust note. The key fob to the M235 xDrive Gran Coupe. Check out the welcoming. Sport seats, which is an upgrade. This is an Oyster perforated. It's a leatherette or synthetic leather. Heated front seats with 12-way power seat adjustment, manual cushion extensions, memory for the driver. And because we have the premium package, that adds the moonroof. the auto start. It is a driver focused setup, so it's going to be a lot more sporty. Your knees sit up, but you can kind of rest them out, and you have plenty of space here on the passenger side. I do like the stitch work here, but I'm not a huge fan of this. I like the ambient lighting that does boast on both sides. It just looks like plastic. That's the big con that I have there. Now the BMW curved panel 2-screen layout is exactly what it is. It's going to be a little bit smaller, so at 10.7 informational display, we have navigation. It has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming Bluetooth audio, Amazon Alexa. It also has Air Console games, so you can play some games here, but it's a driver-focused setup, so the passenger might not be able to play it so much. This is iDrive 9. Put it into reverse, and you get a reverse camera. We also have the backup assistance, which you could start that here, front and rear parking sensors, and it will show the trajectory all around you. Now the air vents, to move them up and down, it's right here, so everything is stationed inside. You have a storage area here. Wireless charging pad is standard, 2 USB-C ports at 12 volts. Satin aluminum, matte black. You have your My Mode. Now when you click onto here, this is your driving mode select, which you have a total of 3 different driving mode. You can click it onto sport. It's going to tick the RPM up. You can go into individual setup here, and you can actually change or tailor this however you like, and you can go into the general settings. It's going to be a little bit more sporty, to be expected. Opens up into a medium-sized storage pocket, auto-dimming rear view mirror, LED interior lighting, and a leather-wrapped steering wheel with the 12 o'clock horizontal lines, multi-function, M badging, and the paddle shifts. We got the boost, and on the gauge cluster, you can go through an array of different content for the driver. And when you change the driving modes to personal or efficient, it will show you for coaching the vehicle, so you'll get better MPGs. So as we drove here, we got 0.1 miles better MPGs. Now you can option things like a heads-up display. Leg space is more than enough. Headroom, you got to sit up a little bit higher. This front-wheel drive platform, it doesn't feel so much like a BMW to me because of how high I'm sitting. My head feels like it's right here whenever I'm looking out of the front windscreen. Door panel and dash configuring together nicely. I'm just not a huge fan of all the plastic that's coming in and more harder material, especially for a 50 grand price. It's going to be more sporty. That is also to be expected here on the door panel. You get one touch up and down for the windows. It's frameless windows, so it is sporty with a smaller storage pocket and a beverage holder carved out. Gran Coupe makes more room for the back, and that's the opening that you have. The door card bulges out more, so it's sporty to touch, and you have about the same size storage pocket. And the nice thing is the grab handle is open, so you could fit larger snacks here, and it makes it easier to get them. Sitting behind me, the seats are kind of carved out for you, so leg space isn't bad, but then headroom is going to be a lot more tight. It is carved out for 2 on the sides. You get cup holders and armrests, 2 USB-C ports, air vents, no storage behind the front seats, sliding into the center. It's not really meant for somebody my dimensions. As you're noticing, 6'3". I mean, who's going to sit next to me? And even sitting here, I'm going to be leaning more towards the right or the left. Just going to be uncomfortable, so just leave me on the sides. 4.7 seconds, 0 to 60 is what BMW is quoting. We have it in sport mode. Push and hold for the boost. Now let's rock and roll. The pops come into play. Front wheel drive platform. It still handles very well. Does feel a little movement there. Braking feels pretty good. It's quick. It's still playful and fun. That is one thing that BMW does right. But with this platform, it does feel like it's sliding a little bit more so than my liking. The exit. It just feels a lot more so like a Mini, and I understand the platform is different. It's just when you're pairing it with that same performance in line, don't get me wrong, it's still fun to drive, but the xDrive, you could really only send about 50% power to the rear wheels. And it's still a confident drive because it's small. Gran Coupe, it's about almost an inch larger than the prior gen. Is it worth the hype? It's gonna take me to some pros and cons. The pros is it's still a fun to drive vehicle. The styling, it looks really dramatic on the exterior. I mean, it almost looks as good as a M340 or an M440. And when I put that into content, those have more horsepower and torque than this. It's only a few tenths of a second 0 to 60 according to BMW, but the weight distribution is also near a 50-50, whereas this is more towards a 60-40. So that's another thing. When you're taking the bends on the road, you're gonna feel the G-force a lot more so different, and it may not feel as tight. The pops come into play, so I like the exhaust note. You're gonna hear a ton of road noise. Going into some cons, a lot of plastic. The interior, it's smaller, it feels smaller, but on the plus to that, it makes it feel faster than the numbers actually project. The seat setting, I feel like I'm sitting higher. Not a huge fan of the dashboard layout. I'm all right with the curved 1-panel 2-screen layout because it fits more seamlessly. I do like the 7-speed dual clutch auto that they've put. It does feel a little bit more lively there instead of having the 8-speed that we had in the current generation. The steering wheel gives you that performance vibe because you got the boost, you get an extra 10 seconds of full horsepower and torque, which makes the car feel a lot more lively. But if you don't have the boost engaged, you're gonna feel a little bit more lag, especially underneath a 2.5 RPM. Yeah, it's a Gran Coupe, but the back seat is gonna be just as small as a 3 Series. And the 3 Series, I think, unlocks a little bit more fun. If you're on a budget and you're looking to get good performance, this is definitely worth the hype. But if you're putting it in a category against the competition, they're gonna be less in price than this, and they're gonna have more performance attributes, especially the new S3. I have a review on it. Awesome vehicle with the power that you get underneath it. Plus they've added an extra twist to the dynamic mode, which here, yeah, we get the boost, but we decreased in torque. And when you're pinned to the seat, that's usually derived by the torque. Yes, I'm happy that we've increased 11 horsepower, but we've also increased in weight from the prior gen. We've increased in length from the prior gen. And yet, the only benefits that we're getting out of this architecture is that we are getting the adaptive M suspension. We're getting the upgraded brakes, dual clutch automatic transmission, and all the M highlights, so it does boast the feel of a sport car. It is a sweet spot for the 2 Series, but not the same similarity as the 3 and the 4. We got it back in sport mode. I'm not gonna do the boost so you can see the difference. Turn radius is about 2 lanes. Let's go. It's still quick and playful. I mean, at this price, it is still hard to get all the performance that you're getting, and I do feel that they capture that. But let me know which way you would go, and if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out this next video right here,